He would line up outside several times. I mean, he would line up outside wide.
He would have
and
to
run his routes.
Yeah, because I mean, you typically a running back pass is more of a low percentage play.
Yep.
Like it's a dump off, or Cole's getting you chunk yardage at times.
Well, it's not a low percentage play.
It's a low percentage play from the value it gives.
Yeah.
you.
It's also hard to imagine this team rolling out a bunch of 2 running back sets after making like 2 tight end sets. 3 wide kind of.
Witten's going to take Beasley's production and multiply it times 3.
Aha.
Yeah,
Hilarious.
There you go.
Hilarious.
Half-court heave. And Luka banked it home. Luka Magic has made everybody ooh and ah.
That Luka dunk.
At Barclays Center.
He ain't bad.
That's it.
He ain't bad.
That was the highlight. Luka from half court and the Nets crowd showing respect to Dirk. Mavs got drilled on Fox Sports Southwest last night by Brooklyn, 127-188. So they follow up their 30-point loss to Memphis with a 39-point loss against the...
What's up, Cowboy Nation? Appreciate everybody for being part of this thing. Really do. Thank those that's been in this thing. Money Making Mall, appreciate you, man. First person that's in the chat box. The free agency time is here. A lot of times I'm with the belief of signing free agencies pretty much after the draft. I think that the price range goes down a little bit. This morning they was talking about Landon Collins' price on the safety board, and as well as some other safety that's going to be out there may drive down Earl Thomas's price. So that's a good deal. That is a good deal. Also, they talked about Duke Johnson. Although he's not a free agent, he's more so of a guy that you can say maybe, just maybe, you can take a look at. Now, as far as production-wise, he can be a guy that can help out this team, giving Ezekiel not a 1-2 punch, but a spell. He's not a starter or anything like that. I would look at his skill set as helping. Yes, one way or another, we live like 95. My name is Law Nation, LAW Nation. Also, you can find this channel on Roku and the iTunes and Spotify. Really appreciate each and every last one of you all. Talking Cowboys football, it's crazy. The situation with D-Law, they are parting with the disbelief of D-Law's camp is not willing to do the surgery. And Cowboys not willing to pay without the surgery. So it's a cluster. That's the only way that we can look at it. I wish and I hope and I just want something to come out where they can find a way. But the problem is when you start looking at the collective reasoning on both parties, you can say one is right on this aspect of it, and then the others are right on this part of it. And just like anything else, if you guys want to increase your health insurance policy, or if you want to sign a big contract or improve your health insurance, there's a health assessment that needs to be done. You can say, well, hey, I've been with your, Blue Cross and Blue Shield for so many years, and why they're not just willing to up my insurance policy, but they want me to pay a higher premium. They saying, okay, we would do that, but we would like to get that health assessment done. We would like to for you to visit this particular doctor, or we want to see what your blood works are before we commit to this type of money. And that's the same type of argument that the Cowboys camp are having. And Demarcus Lawrence camp is saying, no, you give me the money up front first, and then I can go get my surgery done, And I agree. Demarcus Lawrence saying to himself, hey, wait a minute, hold up. Didn't I put everything on the line, and you guys not willing to give me the guaranteed money? I think the Cowboys have no issue of paying the man $19 million, believe it or not. I just think that the issue on both sides are, one is not willing to do this and the other is not willing to do that. Before we listen to back to 105.3 The Fan, I want to play you guys this quick clip right quick for those who didn't get a chance to see. Let's see if we can go ahead and play this right quick. Really appreciate each and every last one of you all. Let's play it. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in to the Law Nation Film Session. When we're talking about running backs and a running back that can help out the primary running back, you want to look at it like supplements, maybe like a side dish or pretty much a dessert, icing on a cake, things like that. When you look at the Dallas Cowboys running back situation, they really need help. And what Duke Johnson can do to help out the Cowboys is be just that guy. Not a primary running back, but somebody that can come into the mix and help. Now, I'm looking at Duke Johnson's film. I like what I see. He can create separation. He got great vision out there in the field. Now, he runs a little too high for my liking, but I do like his explosiveness, and I do like his burst. And then on top of that, he got vision. He got a quick step. He just kind of runs sort of too high. But I think that with the right coaching, he can work those things out. Now, they utilize him in different ways with the Cleveland Browns. They line him up in I formation, power. They did all type of pro-style sets. And then they also had him in the wing. So he did a lot of things. Now, Duke Johnson, he got vision. Now, the problem is he liked to play basketball with the football. He runs a little too high, like I said, and the football awareness, you got to be able to understand that you got people clawing and trying to prow down on the ball. You got to have a little bit of awareness with his ball and protection. But one thing that I can say, he is a guy that will be one hell of a good complementary back. Add him in as a supplementary back because he can create space. He got great vision, bounce offside. He got those things inside his weaponry. Now, how you can utilize him, you would feature him as not just a 1-2 combination punch, but you will have him to come in just as the spell back. Remember, he liked to play basketball with the football, meaning that he carries the football a little too high, and that causes the ball to fumble. Now, as far as blocking and things like that, I like effort. I do like that, but still kind of run a little too high for my liking. The pad levels, got to lower those pad levels, but can he run into the inside? Can you do jet sweeps and motion sweeps? Yes, he got that type of vision. Now, when you get a chance to line him up out wide, can he catch out in the backfield? Yes. This play right here, he lined up, ran a nice seam route, and the linebacker open pursuit, and he was able to take his lunch from him. And I like that. So that means you got a weapon as it relates to catching the ball out of the backfield. Vision enough to understand to find a soft spot in the zone. I like all of those skill sets that number 29 Duke Johnson exhibits. Now, being able to take it to the house, yes, he can do that as well. And not going down, he's solid build, not going down with the first tackle. So that's what I like out of his skill set. Just gotta just lower that pad level a little bit more and protect the ball. Hey, I would like to see this guy in a silver and blue uniform because I know for sure he's able to help out this team in so many factors. Not afraid to run in the power, and on top of that, out of this I formation, get small, tuck the ball in, and being able to create space on his own. Those are things that I like out of Duke Johnson's skill set. Now, the other thing would be pricing. How much money would you give up for a veteran running back that can help out this team? That'll be up to the Cowboys. That will be actually up to the Cowboys to get somebody that can help out this team from a veteran standpoint. I know a lot of people are going to say, hey, what about the Rod Smiths of the world, or the Jameis Olawale, or whoever else we have out there in the backfield? I'm telling you right now, this Duke Johnson, he's built for this Cowboys offense. He's built for the run behind that Cowboys offensive line. Short, shifty, change of pace, change of direction type of guy. Man, that will help out Ezekiel Elliott, because we already know that Ezekiel Elliott is the battering ram for this offense. Just give the man a little help. And when you can have somebody like this, maybe if you can find him from cheap, it will help out tremendously. That's all the time that I have on Duke Johnson. I really want to know your thoughts. All right. So appreciate those who got a chance to watch that little clip of Duke Johnson. A lot of people asking, like, how much money? What's the money? Right now, it's like $1.8 million. Can you go out there and use draft capital to get a running back out there in the draft? Yes. Would you prefer to go out there and get a running back in the draft and still play with it? Yes, veteran is veteran. Somebody who already have experience, somebody that you can go out there and say, okay, a known commodity. Yes, I would like that parameters of Duke Johnson. My thing is, when we're talking about trading, I think that the Browns are already, and he already voiced his concerns of saying that, hey, I'm not getting the touches that I want out of the Browns, and he's already said that he would like to be traded. This is the thing. As far as trade value, I would say anywhere from a 5th or 6th round draft pick. And that's the bottom line. $1.8 million is not a lot of money. I think that with $1.8 million, you can utilize some of those funds and pick them up. Let's see what 105.3 The Fan is talking about.
Changes and tire rotations
All
for
right,
free.
so
Well,
they're not live yet. But this is the thing, Cowboy Nation. We have to figure out a way to put a multiple sets of running backs out there to help Ezekiel Elliott out. There's no way that Ezekiel Elliott can play a whole nother year like he did last year. He can't. We would love for him to do it, but long term, if you want to pay Ezekiel Elliott big time money, you cannot. And I'm gonna say this again. You cannot have him without a spell back, a split back, some help out there in the backfield. I love what Ezekiel Elliott can do. I do. But as full-time running back, he needs some help. Why not Rod Smith or why not Jameis Olawale? Those two guys are not change of pace backs. Those guys are pretty much, to me personally, and I would say this again, I think that Rod Smith needs to be on somebody's team starting. I think that he's the type of running back that down the line, like towards the third quarter, the fourth quarter, you'll see a pickup of his play. You'll see him picking up of what the defense is trying to take away, and you'll see a better running back play out of him. That's just the bottom line. But by him coming in, he's just not that guy that you can just throw into the mix. That's just what I can see out there looking at his film and looking at what Rod Smith brings. Yes, indeed. See what else we have here. We have Joseph said, not trying to dump on Johnson. He's pretty good, but you could draft the type of Tavon Williams. Yeah. Let's see what we got.
It's $20.5 million, up from $17 last year. All the reports have him not showing up to any of the workouts, not going to be happy with that deal. Mike, is Tank ticked, or maybe understanding this is just business as usual?
Oh, I think he's miffed because I think he feels like he was kind of promised that we weren't going to go down this road. Now, the Cowboys will counter by saying, well, maybe it's your side that's being unreasonable in the dollars and cents. And until we see exact offers laid out, which we're never going to see, and the counter offers laid out, we won't really know who we have to yell at and who we get to yell at. Is it Tank's side asking too much? Is it Jerry not offering enough? We should say this, though, Sean. This idea that, come on, Jerry, you're being cheap, that's really a dullard's thought. It has nothing to do with the owner's pocketbook. It has to do with how you want to use the salary cap. The salary cap is whatever it is. What is it this year? $187 million, whatever. It's all about that. Yeah. The Cowboys have $187 million to spend, and they're trying to figure out how best to spend it. And so right now, we've got what I think, unfortunately, starts to line up now as a potential football war between the Cowboys and Tank Lawrence.
Right.
How ugly do you think it would have to get in order for them to explore trading him?
You could trade him. There's a couple ways that he could end up on another team. One is that a team calls you. He's not coming in. He's not showing up, and a team calls you and says, "Listen, we'll go ahead and take him. We'll pay him. We'll acquire him, and we'll pay you whatever. We'll come up with whatever the trade is." The other one, of course, is that a team could tender him a gigantic offer, and if the Cowboys could either match that to keep him, or if they let him go, the Cowboys get 2 first-round draft picks. That team's first-round draft pick this year, and that team's first-round draft pick next year. I think those scenarios are really unlikely. I think Tank Lawrence in a Cowboy uniform remains by far the most likely thing, but that doesn't mean that Tank Lawrence shows up at OTAs, doesn't mean he shows up at captain's workouts, and then we have the Mike Bassick idea of and Bassick yesterday told the story about back in his day, he kind of did this. He kind of did, my shoulder's hurt. If you don't pay me the $75,000 you owe me. This is a little more than $75,000, but Tank Lawrence could conceivably say on July 15th, okay, you got me. I'll sign it. I'm coming in, and then have his shoulder surgery, and have the Cowboys feel like they're threatened by that all summer long. That's where the Tank weaponry comes in, and that's where the battle comes in.
How does the Tank surgery aspect play in the locker room? Because I get the guys. The guys understand it is a business, but then at the end of the day, they still have to play these games, and they're going to be playing them without Tank. If he has the surgery in July, he won't be there until October, right?
Yeah, and that's why I hear some people saying, "Oh, it'll get done," and it will. And the Cowboys Joneses always sign who they want to sign, and they do. But remember the Dez thing when Dez went through this.
Right.
That was ugly. That was uncomfortable and unfortunate. And then you go to Le'Veon with Bell with the Steelers. I didn't know that Le'Veon Bell was a jerk in the locker room. Did you guys? Until this year. And maybe he wasn't a jerk in the locker room before this year. But the Le'Veon Bell situation absolutely has torn the Steelers apart. And Tank Lawrence holds that sort of position in this locker room, Chop, and this is what you're alluding to. These guys look up to Tank Lawrence.
They do.
He's the big daddy now. He's the leader. He's the best player, all those things. And it would create for a lot of weird chemistry if this guy they count on decides to go that way. I think some of them would totally understand. I think some of them would be completely perplexed. I think most of us are of the opinion you're an NFL player, you're literally risking your life, get all the money you can. But both sides will try to use a little public relations to try to make their points. And Tank hasn't done that yet, but a Tank Lawrence tweet is coming to try to make you understand his side, I promise you.
What do you make of these Duke Johnson rumors?
I say that they are real. Now, the question is, and here's the thing. This draft, if you listen to Broadus, KT, Kavanaugh, you can get running backs in the fourth round.
Yeah.
So I hate the idea that, the Cowboys have an extra fourth. They might as well spend it. Folks, that's not an extra fourth. It's a fourth.
There you go.
It's like, when you have $2 in your wallet, it's not like, that other dollar's extra. No, it's $2 real dollars.
$2 real dollars, yeah.
So don't trade the other fourth just because you have two of them. That's really stupid management of your assets. But if they want to give away Duke Johnson, in other words, what I'm saying is I think Will McClay's scouting department would say, don't give up a fourth for Duke Johnson. We can draft a running back. But if they want to give him away for a sixth, and I haven't looked at his contract or anything like that, but that's a real live NFL starting caliber running back. You don't know that you're going to get that in the fourth or fifth or sixth round. If they want to give away Duke Johnson for a sixth, I say the Cowboys are in.
Well, the problem with Duke is if he was frustrated with getting 40 carries last year in Cleveland, Rod Smith got 40 carries last year here, unless you're just going to wear him out throwing him the football. The base salary for 2019 would be $1.8 million for Duke, so that's pretty cheap.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a bargain for a guy who can be a real contributor.
But then, Mike, then it goes to 3.6 and then 4.6. That's
not so much of a bargain.
Nope.
But what about the guaranteed money and how is it structured? Do I have to pay him? We keep trying to emphasize this point when it comes to a Dak contract. The big number doesn't really have to be big. I saw our man Roy White this morning tweet the last three big defensive end contracts, and he used Justin Houston and Khalil Mack, pass rushers. Well, Justin Houston's about to get cut. So a lot of good that did everybody in Kansas City.
Yeah.
And Khalil Mack got traded. So a lot of good that did everybody with the Raiders. So a lot of this is how it's structured. But
Chicago gave Khalil his money.
Yeah,
they
absolutely.
Did. Chicago did.
The Raiders can say that they did or didn't get value for somebody that when they signed that contract, that was Khalil for life.
Right.
With the Raiders. Justin Houston. In that 2014 season for Justin Houston, that's about as good a season as that position's had in a long, long time.
Yeah.
22 sacks.
And now he's not that anymore. Give me Duke Johnson on the cheap. I don't know that you're going to be real dissatisfied if you're playing behind Ezekiel Elliott.
Yeah.
And they would find ways to get you the ball, I think, more than they did with Rod Smith. I think we can agree. Rod Smith's a wonderful fellow. I think Duke Johnson has established that he's a better NFL running back than Rod Smith.
Mike Fisher, Cowboys insider, joining us here on 105 to the Fan. I know how you love crazy trade scenario theories. Would you, and I know the Cowboys never would do this, but this is radio.
Radio talk.
Would you trade a third for Josh Rosen for 4 years of a cheap quarterback and flip your current quarterback for at least a first-round draft pick, more likely a first and a second or 2 firsts or whatever?
We all say that quarterback is different, that you can't just handle quarterback like it's a commodity. Because speaking of guys that run the room and face the franchise and all that kind of stuff, but if I could grit my teeth and squint my eyes and look at quarterback like it was just another asset, just another commodity, I would absolutely do that. Oh, wow. And then, when Josh Rosen's contract is up, when it's time to pay him $28 million, I'd do it again.
Yeah, unless he's actually worth it.
Yeah.
Like, unless he turns into Tom Brady and Peyton Manning and Aaron Rodgers and Drew Brees and Matt Ryan, then you pay him.
This is a theory, and I don't think any NFL team does it, but somebody someday is going to do it. Just like we do it on running backs. When we think the running back's about out of gas, we say goodbye to him. The Patriots do this, of course, habitually with positions. They trade the guy the year before he's out of gas instead of the year after. Someday, some smart, risky team is going to say we're going to change quarterbacks every 4 years. We're not going to give him his next big contract, and that team will either be an idiot or a genius. But I would, again, leaving all feelings aside and chemistry and all that kind of stuff, to trade for the next Dak Prescott, who makes $1 million. Instead of paying this Dak Prescott $28 million, I'd do it now, and I'd do it in 4 years, and I'd do it in 4 years after that.
It sounds like the Giants are letting Landon Collins hit free agency. This is a 3-time Pro Bowler, 5 years younger than Earl Thomas, more of a run stopper than Earl is as a ball hawk, pass defender. The Cowboys going to be in on this?
He is. I mean, he's not even close between what he does as a job. He is a run stopper. Nothing wrong with that. The Cowboys just got the ball shoved down their throat time after time after time, especially on the road in the last half of the season. And so there'd be nothing wrong with more run stopping. The franchise tag at a safety is $11 million. If Earl Thomas thinks he's worth 15, why don't the Giants think Landon Collins is worth 11?
I know. There's got to be something there.
Plus, again, and we're talking from the outside here, but isn't he a locker room leader?
Yeah.
And a guy that is a Pied Piper with those players. So yeah, I'm mystified now. We, as Cowboys Nation, we can make fun of the Giants' moves. They've done a lot of things that haven't worked. But to me, Landon Collins is an $11 million football player, especially in a, at least supposed, maybe made-up market where Earl Thomas thinks he's a $15 million football player.
Now, the Cowboys are number 5 in rush D, so they may not, view it as a huge need versus getting a guy back there to defend the pass. But we're talking about 5 years difference in terms of age and injury and everything that comes with that, even though Landon's missed a little bit of time. But they're already solid against the run.
Yeah, but let's not fool ourselves. We watched that Rams game, didn't we, Sean?
Oh, yeah. They need to go from good to – they can go from good to elite.
Right. Now, we can go – we can kind of pick apart. Antoine Woods in the Rams game had a torn-up shoulder, and he kept playing anyway. Right. And that didn't help. The linebackers, all three of them. Stephen Jones the other day said Sean Lee had a really good game against the Rams. I didn't see it. Nope. I thought all three of those linebackers played poorly against the Rams. So, and they got torn up by a Rams team that's really good. But they also got torn up by a running back who's a forklift driver. So Go to the Giants game before that. Go to the Colts game before that. And no, I don't think the Cowboys are as elite against the run over the course of 18 games as they were over the course of the first eight, which created that nice stat that you just quoted.
Mike Fisher here on the Fan. Fill in the blank. The Dallas Mavericks are
tanking.
Horrific.
What happened? They're not sitting Luka. What happened? They lose by 70 points in your last two games?
All right. Yeah, all right. Appreciate everybody, man. Thank you all for tuning in to the nation. Shout out to you all that's part of this thing. Who me on the Periscope said, yeah, that Colts game. Man, the Colts kind of put the blueprint out there on how to beat the Cowboys, and that's just running right up the gut, and we do need a run stopper to be precise on what are we talking about. We do. As far as the I guess what we want to talk about is this franchise tag. Franchise tag is $11 million. So Landon Collins, if he's out there on the blocks as a free agent or whatever it may be, I think that we can find capital to work that out as well. It's just the title of, do you get a guy that can help out with the run, or do you find and wait for a guy that can help out on the back end of the pass? Guys, let me know this in the chat box. Let me know. Jake the Great 1804. He's in Law Nation Palm Beach. Appreciate you, man. Thank you all. I love to hear where you guys are from. We got people from all over the world, the universe. Crawford is old, as what Jeff says. Yeah, he's getting long in the tooth, as they say. We're going to figure out something. I think that Will McClay will be looking at some defensive guys on that line to help out, because we went from literally in less than a week from that positioning being a power, from now that positioning being a big questioning mark, with the Tank Lawrence situation, Randy Gregory can't stop rolling it up, and David Irvin, of course they had to just really get rid of him because he's not of this world, right? And then Antoine Barbecue Woods, we understand what he can do, but it's crazy, right? Cowboy Nation. Let me just tell you guys again about Sports Track, and let me just look at it from this aspect of it. Sports Track is a website where you can look up all of the important information on players, give you up-to-date fair market value, as well as their current stance on free agency. It also gives rankings and the market value and the salary caps and things like that. Breaks down players' ages, and it gives out the player agent as well. So there are some things out there that we have to take a real good look at. And the number one ranked defensive end in this NFL is Demarcus Lawrence. He is the number one ranked defensive end. With that, just like old Spider-Man, with great power becomes great responsibility. The responsible aspect of it is, do the Cowboys say, okay, Tank, you want, we're going to pay you the guaranteed money of $60 million or $45. I think it's 50 to close to $60 million. We'll give you Khalil Max money, and we'll shore up that side of the defense, and then we'll figure out something else to help out. Guys, that's just as easy as it can be, right? But the problem is that salary cap and paying a player before the surgery is just not a known factor. It's just not a thing that the brilliant people do out there in the world. When you're talking about financing, those who closed on a house, they understand. When you're closing on a house, they want to double check, and the overwriters, the contractors, everybody. They want to really go line by line, and they really want to go over each and everything more than one time, because money is crazy that we all say we need it, we want it, but the smart people, the wise people, they spend it wisely. So everybody know, if you close on a house before, you'll say to that person, wait a minute, I already got pre-approved. Why you guys want to really see my paycheck studs? Why you really want to see this part of my income? Why do you want to check and see how much my dog make? What kind of sense does this make? Why do you want to call my employees for references? Because they finna fork over a lot of money. And that's forecasting. And that's what I do all day. Analysts, we look at things more than once. As they say, measure twice, cut once, right? Measure twice, cut once. And that's the reality of Demarcus Lawrence contract situation. If you look at other guys, and he's top. And we talked about this at loud situations when we talking about contracts and things like that. And this is a great point right here. I had some people say, wait a minute, Law. We can't just look at the sacks. Look at the rating. The rating is right there. D-Law has a strong argument. This sportstrack.com, it shows the ratings. And if you look at, let me move up just a little bit. If you look at the ratings here, and these are your top dogs, right? You got Von Miller. He's at a 90.15. You got Chandler Jones, 82.1. You have Olivier Vernon, 77.6. Khalil Mack, 91.25. And I'll go over this again for those who are listening in on the podcast. Demarcus Lawrence, his rating is at 90.2. The thing is, when you're talking about stops, when you're talking about hurries, when you're talking about tackles per game, if you look at D-Law's stats, you will say to yourself, Khalil, he's at 3.5 or 3. Well, you might as well round it up to 4.0. D-Law is right at 3. Might as well round that up to a 3. So you're getting 4 tackles from Khalil, and you're getting about 3 tackles from D-Law. And if you look at sacks, this is a per game basis, a 0.67 from Khalil, and then you're talking about a 0.78, a higher margin to ratio with D-Law as it relates to these parameters of years from the last year until now. So if they are in the same wheelhouse, because this is on a year-to-year basis. So it's one of those things where we have to look at everything and look at it from this aspect of it. D-Law Camp, he wants to get paid the amount of money that Khalil is making. And he has the numbers and everything to show it, So my thing is, the only problem would be this right here. The Dallas Cowboys. I think the Cowboys are not saying, okay, we're not willing to pay D-Law. But what I'm thinking that the Cowboys are saying is that they just want the surgery on the front end. Appreciate each and every last one of you all for tuning in. Thank you all for being part of the Cowboys podcast or Law Nations podcast and sharing the content throughout the world. I really do. Let me know of your thoughts. Let me know of your opinions of D-Law situation or free agencies out there and who we should draft. Should we go out there and draft a defensive guy in the first round, second round, or should we just parlay with the offensive guy, or we should trade up, try to play around and get into that first round, give up some assets. Since we do, quote unquote, have 2 fourth-round draft picks, we probably can package some of those things up since the compensatory picks are tradable to move up. Would that be an option? Swaggy D says trade him if he wants max money. Some Swaggy D. Aaron Lewis says, what would the defensive end Flowers want from New England as far as his market value? That's a good question. Let me see if I can pull up players. I should have played with this thing a little bit more to see how we can. He is a defensive end, right? And we're gonna go to if I can find New England's deal there, or if his name should be down here. See if I can find Flowers before we get out of here. No, his name not down there unless I overshot his name. I don't see his name down there. I don't know, man. I don't know his market value, but Flowers. Let me see if I have a search, but there's no search. I'm gonna have to play around with the website a little bit more to figure out how to search players and things like that. But to be honest to you, I think that the Cowboys. Here you go, right here. Let me just click on it. Maybe I can find it that way, right? And don't see Flowers. If they can go right here, active contracts. So we'll figure out these things a little bit later down the line. I'll play around with the website so that I can fire off a response. But guys, the free agency period is long, and like I said, I would rather for us to get a free agent guy after the draft because they're cheaper that way, right? They are.